Hey y'all, it's Mary. This is another video in my home buying series, and today I'm going to be sharing a couple different things about the stages of buying a home, because when you're new to buying a home, it doesn't really make sense. I've gotten a lot of questions on previous home buying videos about how long it takes and the process of buying a home, so that's what I'm going to cover today, especially focusing on the timeline and the 4 different stages of buying a home. But since I am not a professional and this is just for entertainment only, make sure you consult with a professional if you have any specific questions. And realize that every realtor does things differently and every state is different. You will have specific timelines and laws in your state. So in general, the home purchase process can be broken down into 4 different stages. 1, when you are actually getting ready and thinking about buying a home and then deciding to buy a home. 2 is pre-approval and getting everything ready so that you're actually ready to buy that home. So it's getting the numbers together and getting all of your information together as well. 3 is actually looking for a home, finding the one you want, putting in an offer and making sure that that's the house you want. 4 is escrow, and that is everything from getting that offer accepted to the final purchase of the home. So the first stage is where you are thinking about buying a home and making the decision to buy. And honestly, the decision to buy stage can be very quick or it can take a long time depending on where you are in life and what you need to kind of adjust and think about in your life. And this is where you're thinking, maybe I want to buy a house. Do I want to buy a house? Do I like renting? Do I want to move areas? Do I really want to take on a mortgage? Do I have the money saved for down payment? You might be browsing the internet in this time period. You might be looking at open houses. You might be kind of scoping out different neighborhoods. You might even be contacting realtors, but it's very much a figuring it out stage and deciding personally if you're ready to take on a home purchase. You're trying to figure out if having a home and being responsible for the home, for the lawn, for everything that goes into being a homeowner is right for you and fits your lifestyle. So this is definitely a stage where you tend to be on your own and you're maybe consulting family and friends, people like me who are homeowners and very much love to talk about the pros and cons of owning a home, but you're probably not really dealing with professionals much, even though you may have reached out to a couple of realtors. You're really in the process before you've decided to buy. And once you get to that decision, once you decide, yes, I want to buy a home, then you move to the next step of the process. So step number 2 is meeting with a lender for pre-approval, finding a realtor, and kind of getting your team together. So when you meet with a lender or you just email, you don't have to actually physically meet them, but you're basically getting the pre-approval saying that you are qualified to buy a home. Most real estate agents are going to want you to do this before you go look at homes, because you're going to want to have a number range that you can qualify for before you look at specific homes. Real estate agents don't really want to waste their time showing you $500,000 homes when you're only going to qualify for something that's $300,000. So meeting and getting a pre-approval from a lender is going to be the first step in this process. This is also the stage where you're going to want to look at the numbers yourself and get comfortable with the idea of what you can afford, how much you want to pay per month, what kind of loan you're going to want, and all of that. You're going to get a pre-approval amount from a lender, but that doesn't mean that that is the number that you want to look for home-wise. You're going to want to run your own numbers and talk to that lender and kind of figure out how much you would be paying per month in your city based on the factors that go into a mortgage. You'll want to kind of figure out what you're comfortable with per month per your budget, and then base your home purchase price on that amount. So while you'll probably get a range from your lender, you're going to want to find your own specific number. For us, we decided that our pre-approval amount was way too high, and we actually looked at homes with a max purchase price of no more than $150,000. We went over that a little bit, but we were approved up to $250,000. So we really went way under that based on the amount that we personally were approved of. And that's something you're going to want to figure out in this stage and set your own price point before you look at houses with a realtor. So once you have your pre-approval in hand and you have the number in your mind of the homes that you want to look at, you're going to get a realtor and then go start looking at homes. Within this stage, you're going to want to pick the realtor that you're working with if you haven't already. And remember that you don't have to stick with the same realtor. If they end up not being a good fit, you can always change, but you do want to have someone with you that's walking with you through this process. Once you have your pre-approval, you're going to want to start looking at homes, and you can look at ones that your realtor sends you. You can look at ones you find on your own with internet research. You can look at open homes that pop up. You can call around to homes that you see signs in. There's a lot of different ways to find the actual homes you're gonna look at. And honestly, this stage of the process can be one of the longest and most frustrating, because when you're looking for a home, you're gonna have a lot of different things in your mind that you want for your home. If it's your first home, you might not even know all of the things that you're really wanting until you start looking at a lot of houses. You're gonna wanna go into these houses, look at them, think about them, look at them online, but look at them in person as well. And these things may change. The things that you want and really require in your home may change during this process. So it can be a really lengthy process to look at homes and figure out which home is gonna be perfect for you. You're gonna wanna pay attention to the neighborhood, because location is so important when purchasing real estate. This can also vary time-wise based on the inventory in your area and your own specific requirements. For us, it took us a week to find the house that we wanted. For my brother-in-law, who bought a home 2 years after us, it took him over a year. So honestly, this can be the most variable stage, because you don't know the specific home that you want until you find it. And if you're in a very hot market, houses can sell very, very quickly. So even when you find a home, it might be gone by the time you actually get to look at it. Homes in my area right now are selling literally the day they are listed, with multiple offers. So if you're in a very hot market, it can be difficult to find the house that you want and get it as quickly as possible. You should remember that the first house you buy is probably not going to be the most perfect dream house for you, but you do want to make sure that the minimum requirements that you have are met. And once you find a home, this is going to bring you to the point where you make an offer through your realtor, and this will take you to the next step. This next stage is called escrow, and it is the final step in the home buying process. It is also by far the most nerve-wracking, and as a new homeowner, the most anxiety producing. You've got your offer accepted, but now you have to go through all of the things that could make the process fall apart. You have to go through all of the due diligence and the mortgage process. It is just a lot of questions, and you don't know how it's going to turn out until you get to the final stage. There's a lot of different things that can change and go wrong, so it's very important on your first home to realize that in the escrow process, things will probably turn out okay, but there are chances that it might not. So during the escrow process, you've had your offer accepted, and now it's up to the mortgage company to go through all of the back end work to get your loan and everything ready for closing. Generally, for new homeowners, this can take anywhere from 30 to 45 days. It really depends on the nature of the economy, if a lot of people are getting new loans or if they are backed up. And then if you have a specific situation where you need to have it done shorter, there are ways to do that. But generally, I would recommend thinking in terms of at least a month for this process. During the first part of this period is when you're going to get your inspection, and you're going to want to make sure that everything in the inspection is covered and that you're comfortable with the home that you're purchasing. And if anything comes up during the inspection that makes you question your choice, remember that you can always back out here, and you can also ask the seller to fix things. There will be some more back and forth between you and the seller to decide whether or not they're going to fix things or it's going to be up to you. And this is the time when you need to be very careful and aware of what is wrong with the home that you're purchasing. Some people will sometimes skip an inspection in a very hot market so that they get the home without doing all of this due diligence. And I would probably never recommend that, because especially as a first-time homeowner, you're gonna wanna know what is wrong with the house you're buying. This is the time during escrow when you wanna do as much as possible and do as many inspections and many specific inspections as you can, so that you know everything that's wrong with this home. In many states, this is also the time when you can cancel if you have a bad feeling. You can back out. You will lose things like your earnest money, but it is really important that you don't get so sold on a house that if something major comes up that you're not going to be prepared for, that you are too scared to back away. There are always more homes, and sometimes a home just isn't right for you. And this is the time period when that can show up and you may have to back away. During this time, you'll also go through an appraisal, which is where a third party evaluates the actual worth of the home and sends that to the lender, so the lender can decide if the mortgage that they are giving you is worth the amount of the home. Generally, these have to come under the amount that you have promised to pay, so that is another part of this process. And then the most time-consuming part of the process is preparing the loan, which will require you to send in a ton of personal information to the lender that you've chosen. You will be sending them a lot of information, and there will be a lot of back and forth between you and your loan service provider that you've chosen. So they will be wanting a lot of information about your finances to evaluate if you are prepared to actually repay the loan that they're giving you. They're going to want your bank account information, your work information, your asset statements, your pay stubs, literally anything that can prove you are financially able and ready to pay for the loan that you're about to take out. This will take the majority of the weeks during escrow, and as you get closer to the end of this time period, the seller will be making repairs on the home, and you will go through final walkthroughs and approve everything they've done. Make sure the house is up to the requirements that you've had during the process. The realtor that you're working with will go with you, make sure all of these things are done. You may opt to have another inspection if you are not sure about what the repairs, or if they were really substantial, you might want to get them checked out by someone. There's a lot that happens during escrow, as you can tell, but it all happens within a month to 45 days. There's inspections, appraisals, mortgage lender walkthroughs, there's all of this stuff. And then you finally get to the end of the process. The final couple of days are those final walkthroughs and making sure everything is up to snuff for what you wanted. So those are the 4 stages of buying a home. It is really a different process for everybody. It kind of depends on where you are and what you have to do to get ready to buy a home and how long it takes you to find a home. But those are generally the 4 different stages that you'll walk through. You'll go from thinking about it to looking to putting in an offer and then actually closing on your home. And that is the process. It does vary time-wise based on where you are and who you are and what houses are available, but that is generally what you can look forward to. I hope this was helpful if you're looking for your first home, and I do love to answer questions about buying homes and your first home, so let me know in the comments if you are preparing to buy your first home and any questions you might have. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. Bye.